Well, we've got a MCHP, which is a micro combined heat and power unit. So it will produce 24 kilowatts of heat and 1 kilowatt of electricity.
So it's combined heat and power.
Yes.
That's what MCHP, right, and it's micro.
Micro because it's for the domestic market.
Right, okay. Now look, tell me about this. This looks pretty solid and pretty heavy.
Oh yes, its lift weight is 110 kilograms.
Right.
So it would need the lifting gear that comes from the merchants with the unit to put it onto the wall.
Right, okay, so obviously you need to have a pretty sensible wall.
Yes,
you
need
put it on. Would you survey that and make sure?
Yes, it will be surveyed. We send out a pre-installation survey form before we release the appliance from the merchants.
Right, okay, and tell us a little bit about the unit itself then.
Well, the unit comprises of two halves. You've got the Stirling engine, which is a 3-piston Stirling engine. That
I just say to everybody, we've got it on the screen. If you can't see over here, we've got the live camera feed. So, sorry, carry on.
And that will produce 6 kilowatts of heat and the 1 kilowatt of electricity.
Right.
If the system requires more than 6 kilowatts of heat, we have a supplementary burner that will modulate between 7 and 18 kilowatts, just purely of heat. That won't produce no electricity, but it just adapts to the system size.
Right, now are there any grants available with this system?
Well, there's a feed-in tariff similar to what you'd get with PV.
So what's the current rate then?
12.89 pence per kilowatt hour.
Right.
And then on top of that, you have an export tariff of 4.65 pence. So you could, with an average heat use of about 2,400 kilowatt hours, and about 400 for £4,500 from the tariffs.
Right.
And then you'd also offset your electricity bill to the tune of probably the same, about £400. So you could potentially earn £800 a year from it.
Right, okay. Now how does it get commissioned?
Well, the commissioning is quite simple really, because it's very similar to a normal gas boiler.
Right, okay.
The wiring's different. It has to be wired slightly different, not massively differently. You have to have an MCBO or MCB and an RCD protection. The cable goes on a dedicated circuit from the consumer unit, and then you would need 1.5 millimetre flex going into the unit. But you would need to claim the tariff to also fit a generation meter.
Right, okay. Now what about ongoing servicing? Is there a requirement for that?
The same requirement as you'd have with a normal gas boiler.
Is that right?
Yeah,
okay.
Basically it's exactly the same.
Brilliant.
The engine requires no maintenance.
And what about the noise factor?
Well, noise factor is about 45 decibels. So that would be for the distance of a refrigerator a metre away. That would be the kind of noise. I mean, it's on now. I know it's not ideal.
Can't really hear
circumstances.
it. No one else will hear this. Right, okay, yeah, I get it.
You just get a hum.
Yeah, so it is very much like a fridge.
Yeah, just like a fridge.
Brilliant. Now, where can I buy this?
Well, you would have to go onto the MCS website and then onto the find and installer section to find somebody who has done the relevant training and got the correct accreditation to fit, so that you could claim your feed-in tariffs.
Right.
And once you've found the installer, he would come round, he would do a heat loss calculation, not an in-depth one, but a reasonable heat loss calculation on your property. And if it fitted in with the application of the unit, he would then ask the merchants to provide one. And then the merchants would contact us and we'd send out a pre-installation form that he would fill in before we release the boiler.
Brilliant. What's the beauty of this system as far as you're concerned?
Well, the beauty of it, it's got an advantage over PV because it's producing electricity while your boiler's running.
Right.
And when your boiler's running, you're normally in. So the electricity it produces, you'll use. Where with PV, you've got nice sunny days where you're getting electricity and you're either out at work or out enjoying yourself, and you're not actually using the electricity that's
generated.
Yeah.
Right, okay, brilliant. Now, is there anything else you want to say about this system at all?
Well, it's so simple as a boiler.
It seems incredibly simple.
It really is. And people think there's got to be wires there and everywhere, and there's not. a normal electrician could wire it up quite
Right.
easily. The controls that we
Yeah.
have there.
Talk us through those a little bit.
Well, we've got these are fitted to the front of the unit because we are only heating up this E-Race Ardia Megaflow cylinder.
Right.
In a normal property, you would have that as a programmable room stat that would be taken away, put into a cradle. There's RF versions and hardwired. And then you have a set of 5 LEDs which replace it in the front of the boiler to tell you the status of what the boiler's actually doing. As a room unit, that is a modulating room stat, so it controls flow temperature, not switching the boiler on and off. That is designed to give you as much electrical generation as you can possibly get.
Right.
It's got optimum start, and it's got absolutely loads of information in there, from how much power you're producing to how many kilowatt hours you've actually produced from the appliance, cylinder temperatures, outside temperatures, everything that you've connected to it will make it run more efficiently, such as outside weather sensing.
And is it easy to use in that respect? Because I hate
Yeah.
these things. I'm too old, I think, in terms of pushing buttons and getting to the right place.
It really is. I mean, if I just press that button now, it says information.
Yep.
I press it again to accept it, and it's telling me what the room temperature is. I scroll down, boiler temperature, how many burners are on, so it's just running on the engine, and how many watts of electricity I'm producing at the moment, which is 939 watts.
Right. Okay. And the boiler is just a normal boiler. There's nothing special.
No.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, why isn't everyone fitting these in?
I think because they're not produced in the same rate as you would do boilers. They're not produced in the same amounts, and it's a growing market. So it will be slow and steady as we go through. But eventually there will be a lot of them about.